Alright, so the last couple of videos, we learned about operators in Python, right? There are the four types of operators that we saw. In this video, we'll continue with operators, but in this video, what we'll look at, what are precedence and associativity of operators in Python, and we'll see a classification of operators, right? We'll start with precedence in Python. Precedence. Now, precedence in very simpler words, it is nothing but the priority in which operations are performed in Python. Now, let's take an example and try to understand. So, let's have a calculation wherein it involves multiple operators. Okay. So, 5 plus 10 into 6 maybe. Right. So, simple mathematical calculation. Using maths, you can solve it. So, what will be the answer? 65. Why? Because according to mathematics, multiplication happens first and then the output of this will be added to 5. So 10 into 6 is 60, added with 5 is 65. Correct? Now, this is what is precedence, right? If there are multiple operators in the calculation, right, precedence determines the order in which they are evaluated or which operation will get the priority. That is what precedence will decide. Now, this is a very simple thing, right? We know this is board mass, right? If you remember from mathematics, right? But what about other kind of operators? Let's say logical operators. We do not have board mass in logical operators, right? Let's take that example and try to understand precedence, right? So let's take a variable called name, mark, and again age to be 25. Right? Let's check the value of name and age, which is mark and 25. Now let's write a complex conditional statements combining a couple of conditional operators. All right. So name equal to mark. So what we're checking, if the name is Mark or the name is John. So what we're checking, either the name should be Mark or John, right? And age should be less than 18. So what we're checking, either the name should be Mark or John, one of them, and the age should be less than 18. So what will happen? Pause the video, think, and guess the answer. Can you think? So let's try to understand. If we think in this way, that the name is Mark or name is John. So name is Mark, so this will be true, right? Let it be false, but this is true. So or true or false is true. And then true and what is this? Age less than 18. Age less than 18 is false. Why? Because age value is 25. So true and false will be false, isn't it? Let's check. It's not false. What happened here? Let's try to understand. So what we imagined was or operator to perform the operation first, right? That's what we did. We checked these two first. So true or false, we checked first. And this is what? False. If that way, if we calculate, we'll get a false because this will give you a true. So true and false is false. But the output is true, which means it is not this way it is getting evaluated. So how it is getting evaluated? And is actually getting operated first. Now let's check that if that is true. So if you operate and first, so this and this, right? So name equal to John, right? What is name equal to John? This is false. And age less than 18. Age is 25, 25 less than 18 is again false. So false and false, we know that what it is? It is false, right? Now, after evaluating and first, what is this name equal to Mark? Name equal to Mark will be true. because name is Mark. And we have a OR operator here. So true or false will be true. Since the answer is true, this is how it is working. We can confirm, right? Now, why it is working that way, right? Because of precedence, right? In arithmetic operation, we know the priority using BODMAS. But what if there are other operators? That's where the precedence concept comes into picture in Python. It means AND has the higher priority than OR, right? OR has less priority than AND, because this example proves it, because we get true, which means to get true, this AND operation should happen first. Now, how do we know which operation has the highest priority? Let's search it. Maybe precedence in Python, right? And maybe the first link we'll check. See, there's a table here. It says precedence, operators, description, associativity. Right? We'll come back to this later. Look at precedence. This is the precedence of all the operators. So 1, 2, 3, this is the priority. And the first is bracket operator. Then we have these things we'll see later. Then we have the exponentiation operator. Then we have the plus and minus operations. Then we have the multiplication and division operators, right? If you see carefully, multiplication and division are at the same priority according to Python. We'll come back to this. Then we have plus minus, right? Then we have other operators. Then if you see, we have and OR. This is where it says the AND has more priority than OR, right? So that's the reason we get a true here instead of getting a false. Now, what if you want to check the names first, right? What if you want to check the name should be either John or Mark, and then you should check this AND operation. So if you see the precedence, the first priority is given to the brackets. So what you can do, you can put brackets here, right? Simply start bracket, name equal to Mark, or name equal to John, bracket closed, and age is less than 18, right? Now in this case, what will happen? In this case, this bracket will make sure that this OR operation happens first, right? So name equal to Mark, or John, or name equal to John. So this is true, right? This is true. So this is true and this is false. So true and false is false. Similarly, in this example, 5 plus 10 into 6, if you want to do the plus operation first, what are you going to do? You will write in brackets 5 plus 10 multiplied by 6, right? So in this case, 5 plus 10 is 15, 15 into 6 is 90. All right, I think that makes sense. Okay. Now let's take few more examples. Let's say I am writing 100 divided by 10 into 10, right? In this case, division operation will happen first because of BODMAS, but as per precedence, what will happen first? Both multiplication and division are same priority or same precedence, right? Yes or no? But if you apply maths on this, this will be 100 divided by 10, which is 10.0, right? And into 10, which is 100.0. Why not it is 10 multiplied by 10 first, and then 100 divided by 100 is 1.0. Why it's not 1.0? Even though the precedence of multiplication and division are same, leave maths for a bit, right? Or let's come back to this. Or one more example, because this could be confusing because in maths division is done first, right? But let's take another example wherein I'm doing 2 to the power of 1 to the power of, let's say, 3. Now what is it? 2 to the power of 1, 1 to the power of 3. Now I'm using the same operator twice. So can I say this, there are two operations, right? Even though I'm using same operator twice, but there are two operations. Why I'm saying that? Because whether 2 to the power of 1 will be operated first or 1 to the power of 3 will be operated first. What's the difference? Let's check. If you do 2 to the power of 1 first, right? What is the output? 2. And then to the power of 3, which is 2 into 2 into 2 is 8, right? If you do 2 to the power of 1 first, this is the answer, 8. Now what if you do 1 to the power of 3? What is 1 to the power of 3? 1 to the power of 3 is 1. 1 to the power of anything is 1, right? And then 2 to the power of 1 is 2. Now what will be the answer in this case? What do you think? Again, pause the video. Think. Will it be 8 or will it be 2? If you have answered that it will be 8, you are not correct. See what has happened? In the above example, we are going left to right. In this example, what happened? This operation happened first and then this, which means the right side operation happened first and then the left side operation. Here comes the concept of associativity. Alright, what is associativity? If and when we have two operations or more operations or two operators or two or more operators in the same expression having the same precedence or the order or the priority, we cannot decide which operation will happen first. But there is a concept called associativity in Python that will decide which operation will happen first. Whether it will be in the order of left to right or it will be order of right to left. So how do we know what is the associativity left to right or right to left? Every operator having the same precedence has the associativity defined. If we go back to the table, see, here we have associativity. If you look at division and multiplication, the associativity is left to right, which means it will do the division first in this case and then multiplication. That's why the answer is 100. And in this case, the right side operator is happening first, right? So it means for exponential operator, it should be right to left. See? So you can refer to these tables. You can get it from anywhere. Not necessary in only this site will help you. Any site can help you, right? So what is associativity again? If the precedence of two operators, two or more operators are same, the associativity left to right or right to left will decide which operation will happen first, right? So this is what the concepts of associativity and precedence in Python. Hope it is clear. Okay. Now let's move ahead to understand another small thing. So what we did till now was we saw arithmetic operators, assignment operators, logical operators, right? These kind of operators. There are other few operators that we'll be looking in the future videos. And the classification that we have seen till now is depending on the operation that it performs, right? Arithmetic operation is performed, so they are called arithmetic operators. Assignment operators are called assignment operators because they are used to assign a value to a variable, right? Logical because it's logical, right? Comparison because it compares two operands together, right? Similarly, we have classification of operators, right, based on the number of operands that the operator operates on, right? Right. So what it is? The first one is unary operator. What is it? If an operator operates on only one operand, it's called unary operator. For example, minus. minus, how is it in a unary operator? Minus 10. When I do minus 10, how many operands are associated? How many operands are associated? 10, right? So one operand is actually being used with minus. Now, you'll ask, is it an operation? Yes, because 10 is a positive number. When we put minus in front of it, it is getting converted into negative, right? So this is a small example of unary operator. Another example is not, right? When we apply not of true or not of false, anything. So how many operands are there? Only one operand, right? With this operator. So this is not also is a unary operator where it applies on or it operates on only one operand. Second type of operator is binary operator. Binary operators are operators that operates on two operands. These are the most of the operators are actually binary. For example, plus, multiplication, even subtraction. Minus is actually one of the operators which is both unary and binary, because we can do 10 minus 5, right? Why it is binary? There are two operands, right? 10 and 5, right? True or false. How many operands are used? 2 with one operator, right? So this is binary operator, right? Or minus, plus, all the arithmetic operators, all the logical operators, all the comparison operators, most of the operators are binary, right? Then we have the third type of operator, which is ternary operator. Now, ternary operator by definition, which means the operator that operates on three operands. Operator which operates on three operands. I'm not going to give an example of this because it actually involves other concepts like if else, conditional statements in Python. So when we will understand that concept, we'll come back to ternary operator and then try to understand an example of ternary operator in Python. That's all for this video, and that's all for operators in Python. Thank you.